Panic spread through Starlight High like wildfire. By Monday morning, the news had hit every class. Amor was missing. Some said she ran away. Others whispered that the trauma had been too much. But Diamond knew better. She didn't run. He told the principal, eyes fierce. She was taken. Mr. Aide, the school principal, rubbed his temples. Are you sure? Diamond slammed his phone down on the desk. This message was sent the moment she vanished. Look at the time stamp. This was planned. Amor's father was already at the police station, his voice shaking with rage. You need to find my daughter. Do whatever it takes, please. Detectives visited the school. They questioned teachers, students, everyone, but Stephanie sat calmly during her interview. Cool, do you know anything about her disappearance? The officer asked. No, Stephanie replied smoothly. But honestly, she was acting strange lately. Maybe she just couldn't handle the pressure. But inside she smiled. Everything was going to plan. Meanwhile, Amor was far from school, locked in a dusty room with boarded windows and one old mattress. Her head throbbed, her lips were dry, and fear curled around her like smoke. She remembered nothing after the cloth, just darkness. And now, this, outside the room. Two men spoke in hushed tones. She's the one, right? Yes, they'll come for her. And when they do, we'll make them pay double. Back at school, Diamond looked out the window. His jaw clenched. Hang on, Amor, he whispered. I'm going to find you. Diamond barely slept. His eyes were red, his voice hoarse from endless questioning. But he refused to stop. She was last seen walking to the art room. He told Officer Tunji, there are no cameras in that wing. That's not a coincidence. The officer nodded. We're checking traffic camera footage near the school gates. Someone had to drive her out. While the investigation continued, Diamond followed his own instincts. He remembered something: Stephanie's sudden silence. No gloating. No side comments. Just calm. To calm down, he decided to visit someone he rarely talked to. Ruth thought he found her by the school garden. Can we talk? He asked. Ruth shifted nervously. About what? About Amor. About Stephanie. Ruth's eyes darted around. I don't know anything. You do, Diamond said firmly. And if anything happens to Amor, her blood's on your hands too. Ruth broke. I didn't know it would go this far. Steph just said she wanted to scare her. Not whatever this is, edit. Diamond stepped closer. Where is she? I don't know exactly. But I heard something. A warehouse, old one. Near the outskirts of town, behind the trailer park. Diamond's heart raced. He rushed off and dialed Officer Tunji. I have a location. Meanwhile, in the dark room, Amor coughed weakly. Her wrists ached from tight ropes. She looked up at the narrow crack of light. Please, she whispered. Somebody find me. And help was already on the way. The old warehouse sat at the edge of the city, hidden behind rusted trailers and overgrown bushes. It looked abandoned, perfect for a secret crime. Diamond stood behind a police van, adrenaline surging. Officers Tunji and Miriam readied their weapons as they approached. We move in quietly, Tunji said. One wrong move, and they might hurt the girl. Diamond clenched his fists. Just get her out alive. Inside the warehouse, Amor lay weak and barely conscious. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. Her head pounded, and her lips cracked from thirst. But her mind was still sharp. She knew the men were arguing outside. Boss said no trouble. We should just take the money and run. Suddenly, a sound, boots crunching gravel. Wait, did you hear that? Before they could react, the door burst open. Police, down now! Chaos erupted. Shouts, scuffling. A gunshot echoed. Diamond pushed past officers, ignoring calls to stay back. His eyes searched the dark. Amor, Amor. Then he saw her, slumped in a corner, tied but alive. Amor, he dropped beside her, tears filling his eyes. She looked up, barely whispering, Diamond, you're safe now. I got you. Paramedics rushed in, untying her and checking her pulse. Officer Miriam turned to the others. 3 suspects caught. No fatalities. We're taking her to the hospital. As Diamond held Amor's hand in the ambulance, he whispered, I thought I lost you. And in that moment of quiet, trembling pain, he kissed her forehead. Not as a friend, but as someone who had nearly lost the girl he loved. The hospital room was quiet. Soft beeping came from the monitor beside Amor's bed. Her skin was pale, her eyes tired, but she was safe. Diamond sat beside her, holding her hand gently. Amor, he whispered, you scared me. She turned her head slowly. You found me. I'd search the whole world if I had to. A tear slipped from her eye. I thought I was going to die in that place. He squeezed her hand. Not on my watch. Then silence fell between them, not heavy, but full of unspoken truths. Diamond, she began back there, before I passed out. I think I heard you say something. He looked down, then met her gaze. I did, and I meant it. Her heart skipped. I love you, Amor. I've loved you for a long time, not just as a best friend, more. She blinked for a moment. All the pain, the fear, the trauma faded. I always thought I was too broken, too complicated, she whispered. You're not broken, he said. You're brilliant, brave, beautiful, epilepsy and all. Her lips trembled. I think I love you too. At that moment, her father entered the room, followed by Officer Tenji. They've arrested everyone, the officer announced, including the one who planned it all. Diamond stood. Stephanie. Yes, she confessed under pressure. She'd be facing serious charges. Amor closed her eyes, a single tear falling. It was over. Or at least, this part was. She had survived. But the journey was far from finished. News of the kidnapping and Amor's rescue spread like wildfire. By Tuesday morning, Starlight High was buzzing. Did you hear? Amor was kidnapped. And Diamond helped the police find her. Stephanie's in jail now. Can you imagine? The school bulletin board displayed a headline from the local paper. Rich student abducted, rescued by classmate, top student survives ordeal. Students whispered in the halls, many ashamed of how they had treated her before. Some had mocked her epilepsy, others had stayed silent when Stephanie bullied her. Now they all felt guilty. Meanwhile, Amor lay in her hospital bed, recovering. Flowers lined the windowsill, balloons, cards, notes from classmates who once avoided her. Even Bella's handwriting was among them. You're stronger than I ever realized. I'm sorry for how I treated you. Amor smiled weakly. Her body was still tired, but her spirit was coming back. Diamond visited every day. He made her laugh. He helped her stretch. He read her textbooks aloud so she wouldn't fall behind in class. I don't want you missing WAAC because of this, he teased, holding up a biology note. She chuckled softly. You're such a nerd. He grinned. I'm your nerd. She blushed, turning her face away, but her smile lingered. That evening, her father sat by her side. His usually stern face softened. You've made me proud, Amor, and I was wrong to ignore your condition. From now on, we fight it together. Amor nodded, eyes shining. Finally, she wasn't hiding anymore. She was healing, and the next battle was rising stronger than before. 3 weeks later, Amor stepped through the gates of Starlight High, her uniform crisp, her posture steady. Her scars weren't visible, but they were there beneath her calm expression, behind her quiet eyes. Students paused, some whispered, but this time, no one laughed. Bella approached her nervously. Hey, Amor, can I walk with you? Amor nodded. Sure. They walked in silence before Bella finally blurted out, I was jealous. That's why I followed Stephanie, but what she did, it was evil. Amor looked at her calmly. You had a choice. You followed the wrong one, but I forgive you. Bella stared. You do? Yes, because holding grudges is heavier than carrying epilepsy. Bella smiled, humbled. Thank you. In class, everyone stood when Amor entered. Even the teacher paused to clap. Welcome back, young lady. Diamond grinned from his seat. Told you, queen of comebacks. Amor giggled as she sat beside him. Don't boost my ego too much. At break time, a group of juniors approached shyly. Miss Amor once said, "You're our role model now. We made this for you." It was a handmade card that read, "You showed us that strength doesn't mean hiding. It means rising." Tears gathered in Amor's eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. But even as smiles surrounded her, she stayed grounded. WAEC was just months away. She had catching up to do and dreams to chase. But this time, she wasn't running from her truth. She was walking boldly into it. Books, flashcards, past questions. That was Amor's new world. After school, while most students chatted and scrolled through social media, Amor sat in the study room with Diamond, catching up on all she had missed. "I can't believe how much I forgot," she groaned, dropping her pen. "My brain is tired." Diamond chuckled. "It's okay. One topic at a time." Tonight we finish organic chemistry, and tomorrow mathematics. "Remind me why I love you again," she teased, eyes playful. He raised a brow. "Because I'm the only one who understands you and WIC physics." They laughed. Though their study sessions were intense, there was a joy to them, a closeness built on more than books. Sometimes Diamond brought her food. Other times, she brought his favorite snacks. It was no longer just survival. It was partnership. Meanwhile, Amor's father hired a private tutor to assist her on weekends. He also ensured she had regular doctor appointments and new medication to better manage her condition. "Your health comes first," he told her one evening. WAEC is important, but your life is more important. Amor nodded. For the first time, she felt truly supported. One night, while reviewing a particularly hard topic, Amor looked up at Diamond. "What happens if we go to different universities?" Diamond looked at her quietly. Then he smiled. "Then I'll follow you, or at least visit every weekend." She laughed. "Stalker." "No," he said softly, "just in love." Amor looked away, cheeks warm. Even in a time of pressure and pain, love was blooming slow, steady, and strong. While Amor rebuilt her life, one girl sat in silence behind cold metal bar Stephanie. Gone were the designer clothes, long nails, and polished perfection. Her hair was undone. Her eyes no longer sparkled with arrogance, only regret and bitterness. She sat on her bunk, staring at the wall. Her parents had tried everything: bribes, lawyers, connections. But the evidence was clear. The videos, the messages, the confessions from the kidnappers. It was all stacked against her. The judge had denied her bail. "You're lucky she survived," her lawyer told her. "You'd be facing attempted murder, not just kidnapping." Stephanie didn't respond. She simply curled deeper into herself, the weight of her actions pressing down like chains. She thought of Amor, of how she had smiled even when insulted, how she'd risen after being humiliated, how she was still standing. And now Amor was being celebrated while she was forgotten. At school, no one wore D3 tags anymore. Bella and Ruth avoided her name completely. The students who once followed her now walked past her parents in public like they were strangers. Stephanie had become a ghost in her own story. Back at Starlight High, Amor passed the old tree where Stephanie once held court with her crew. She paused for a second. Diamond noticed. "You okay?" Amor nodded. "I just wonder how someone can have everything and still choose hate." Diamond said, "Hurt people hurt others." She sighed. "Then I hope prison teaches her what kindness never did." And with that, she walked forward, leaving Stephanie behind, both in place and in memory. It had been over a month since Amor's returned to school, but the shadows of her trauma hadn't fully disappeared. She still flinched at sudden footsteps behind her. She still checked over her shoulder when walking home. And sometimes when the halls were too quiet, she remembered the warehouse. But Amor didn't let fear define her. Instead, she turned it into fuel. She joined a new club, Voices of Hope, a student-led group that raised awareness about mental health and chronic illnesses. At their first meeting, she stood before a dozen curious students and shared her story openly, without shame. "I have epilepsy," she said. And I was kidnapped because someone thought my weakness made me easy to destroy. But I'm here, not because I'm perfect, but because I chose to live." The room fell silent, then erupted in applause. After the meeting, a shy boy approached her. "My younger sister has epilepsy. She hides it. But now, I think I'll tell her about you." Amor smiled. "Tell her she's not alone." Meanwhile, Diamond stood at the back of the room, watching her with pride. She was no longer just the smartest girl in school, she was a symbol of resilience. That night, as they walked home under a sky full of stars, Amor turned to him. "You know, I never imagined my worst secret would become my loudest message." Diamond looked at her. Sometimes the scars we're ashamed of become someone else's survival guide. And Amor knew she had stepped into her purpose. 3 months to WAC. The air at Starlight High was thick with pressure. Students carried textbooks like treasure, and whispered formulas floated through the hallways. For Amor and Diamond, the clock was ticking. "Physics practical next week," Diamond muttered, flipping pages. "If Mr. Bashir gives us lens diagrams again, I swear, you'll solve it in 5 minutes like always," Amor teased, then sighed. "But I need to master those equations. I can't afford to fail." "You won't," Diamond said firmly. "We've come too far." Their study sessions doubled. They met in the school library, the garden, even the back of Diamond's mother's shop, anywhere they could focus. Sometimes they quarreled. "You already explained it like that 3 times, Diamond. Because you're not listening." "You're too tired. Let's take a break." "No, I don't want pity. I want to pass." But the tension always melted, because underneath the frustration was deep care. At home, Amor's dad cleared a whole room for her revision. "Whatever you need, I'll provide. Just give it your best." She smiled gratefully. "I will, Daddy." Despite the pressure, love blossomed quietly. Diamond would leave small notes in her notebooks. "You're not just a star, Amor. You're the whole sky." She never said it, but she kept every single one. As the first mock exam approached, Amor stood in front of her mirror. She wasn't the same girl who once hid behind smiles. She was now a fighter with scars, yes, but also with strength. And this time, failure wasn't an option. WAAC exams began on a cloudy Monday morning. The school was unusually quiet, no laughter, no gossip, just tension and sharpened pencils. Amor sat in the front row, her heart pounding. The invigilator paced the room slowly, eyes scanning for cheats. Papers were handed out. Mathematics. She swallowed hard, whispered a short prayer, and flipped the page. Her mind kicked into gear. Question 1. A car travels at 60 kilometers per hour for 2 hours. Diamond sat beside her, steady and focused. His presence was comforting, like a silent reminder, "You've got this." For 2 hours, Amor battled numbers like a warrior until her head suddenly buzzed. A flash of light, a pulse in her temples. Her vision blurred. Not now. She paused, closed her eyes, breathing slowly. She'd practiced this. Her doctor had trained her on how to manage it. She gripped her pen tighter. In out, count to 5. The wait passed. She opened her eyes and dove back in. When the bell rang, she dropped her pen with a deep breath. She had finished, despite the tremor, despite the fear. Outside, Diamond met her with a nervous smile. How was it? She nodded. I won, barely. He fist bumped her. You're unstoppable. Over the week, subject after subject followed biology, literature, government. Amor pushed through each one like her life depended on it. On Friday, the last paper was physics, her toughest subject. She stared at the final question. State Ohm's law and explain its application. She smiled. For the first time in a long while, she felt confident. Few months after the WAAC exams, the school buzzed with one phrase. The results are out. Amor's hands trembled slightly as she made her way to the school notice board. A crowd had already gathered, students shoving, whispering, gasping, some smiling, others devastated. Diamond grabbed her wrist gently. Want me to check first? No, Amor said, her voice calm but firm. I need to face this myself. She squeezed past the crowd and scanned the list. Her name appeared under SS3A. Amor as 7As to Bs. She blinked, looked again. It was real. A huge grin broke across her face. I did it. Diamond rushed to her side. What? She turned to him. I passed. I actually did it. His smile lit up the hallway. Amor, I'm so proud of you. What about you? She asked. He pointed at his name, right below hers. Diamond chuckled, 8 A's, 1B. They laughed, tears welling in their eyes, and hugged tightly. Students clapped around them, genuine applause, not envy, not judgment. Even Bella came forward. Congrats, Amor, you earned every mark. Thanks, she replied sincerely. You did too. Bella nodded enough to make my mom scream with joy. That day, Starlight High didn't feel like a battlefield anymore. It felt like a community healing from its wounds. Amor stared at the sky later that evening, her results in hand. She had been bullied, broken, kidnapped, and almost lost herself. But now she had her life back, and her future was waiting. To celebrate the top performers in the WEC exams, Starlight High organized a special dinner party. It wasn't prom, but it felt just as grand. Amor wore a stunning wine red gown, simple yet elegant. Her hair was braided into a crown, and she wore minimal makeup that highlighted her natural beauty. When she stepped into the school hall, heads turned. She's so beautiful. That's Amor, right? She looks like a queen. Diamond, dressed in a crisp black suit with a gold tie, was already waiting by the entrance. The moment he saw her, his jaw dropped. Wow, he whispered, you look breathtaking. She blushed. You clean up nicely yourself. They entered together, arm in arm. Music played softly, tables were set with sparkling lights, and the air was filled with laughter and new beginnings. As they sat, the principal took the stage. Tonight, we celebrate resilience. These students have shown us that excellence isn't just about intelligence, it's about courage. Amor's name was called. She walked up to thunderous applause and received a plaque for outstanding academic comeback. She stood at the podium, holding the mic. I almost gave up, she began, because I thought sickness made me less. But I've learned, strength isn't hiding what breaks you. It's choosing to rise anyway. The hall stood in ovation. Later, as the music slowed, Diamond took her hand. Dance with me. She smiled. Only if you don't step on my toes. They swayed under the lights, hearts closer than ever. That night, Amor wasn't just the girl with epilepsy. She was the girl who conquered everything they said would break her.